last year, I had started my first full-time job. And I was really excited because I thought, this is it. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm meant for. I'm very career-driven. And this is it for me. I'm going to be here forever. It's meant to be. So I was good for about 3 months. I am a very self-sufficient person. I didn't have much guidance. I didn't think I needed it. But it was near the end of my predecessor being there to help train me. It was a couple days after they had left, and I started to feel myself cracking. Something was off. I had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I knew that it was something that was going on, talked with previous therapists about it. I thought I had a grasp of it because I took my meds, and that was it. But I remember that I filled my day back to back with meetings, and one meeting near the end of the day where I had to be in 2 places at one time, I was talking to somebody about getting more involved with this organization, and I felt myself drop in and realize I can't pay attention to this. I don't really care about what's going on, and that's not very me. That was the first note that something was off. All of a sudden I became really confused. I felt myself slowing down physically as well. I felt very lost inside of my head. I woke up one day and had to go to work. The previous week I had been crying every night. I didn't know why. I just thought I was kind of stressed out, and that was the end of it. I woke up and I couldn't stop. It was hysterical. But I thought, I'm a good worker. I'm going to go in and pull it together. But I knew I just had to purely go in to say, something's wrong. I was having these urges where I didn't want to hurt myself, but I felt like I can't go on any longer. So I went in and I told my boss, I'm honestly suicidal. I can't do anything. I'm not brushing my teeth or showering or anything. And they were very much like, do what you need to do. Took a week off. I thought I would be okay, but I knew that was not it. I had never seen any representation of bipolar disorder, depression, or mental health in general being so bad that you were frozen. I felt it was all my fault. It just came from within, that I was lazy, and I just couldn't help it.
How did you get past that self-judgment?
It took me switching to an in-person therapist. I met someone completely new, and I dumped everything all at once, and that was stressful, but I was open as possible. And it took quite a few months to realize, talking to her, talking to other mentors and friends who have kind of realized that something was off, older people in the community who had more of a reputation and understood where I was coming from. I'm still trying to have some validation that it wasn't my fault, or that, I'm scared it's going to happen again. I'm scared that no matter what I do, no matter the meds I take, I'm going to crash in the winter. And it hurts because I thought I was done. My career's over. Nobody's ever going to want me again because I tried this and I was a mess. Because something I think a lot about is when you have a hard episode or a hard day, you can't say, oh, sorry, I can't come in. I'm sick. I broke my legs. Obviously, I can't participate in this or that. It's hard to say, I'm feeling really crazy and manic today, so I'm going to spend a lot of money and sorry if I'm spastic. I can say that, but I'm going to get some weird looks. I'm only feeling comfortable with telling that to people that I'm close with.
One of the things that I would want to challenge you with is deleting the word crazy from your vocabulary.
Yeah.
Because of the societal stigma and pressure that comes from that. If you think about this as a car that has a quirk, right? It needs oil every 3 weeks rather than every 6 months, right? If it was a car that did that, you would go, okay, it's not necessarily what I wanted, but I guess if I want to ride this car and get the places that I want to go, then that's what I have to do. And if you think about your body like a machine like that, it doesn't help to label it as something that's stigmatized, because that continues the judgment inside your head. You're not crazy. You just have some things you're dealing with. And other people don't have those. I think the importance of having a conversation like this is the opportunity to share what it's like on your inside. Because nobody else knows, because they're not on the inside.
That's why I want to speak about this, because you don't see a lot of people be open about feeling mentally paralyzed. Because I think I choose these labels because for years I thought, I want to figure out what my diagnosis is, and then everything will make sense. But now that I have that, I feel like I'm filling a stereotype. People have told me that I'm this or the other, and they hit it right on the head. I'm glad that I know what's going on, because I can have it treated, but it's hard to not label myself that way, especially early on.
And part of growing in wisdom is recognizing that many of us have been through experiences where something has shown up that has either been paralyzing or debilitating. And we don't necessarily go back and say, well, when that happened to me, right? So what happens is if you're young and you're experiencing something for the first time, you feel like you're the only person who's ever been through this.
Yes.
Right? And you don't necessarily feel like you ought to talk about it, because what happens if it's true? What happens if you are crazy, but you're not?
Yeah. It's scary thinking that you might not have control over yourself. That's the biggest thing. Like I said earlier, I can't just say that I'm out sick, I've got a cold. It's very embarrassing. And I found myself giving excuses because I kept seeing people that were like, hey, what's going on? And my therapist told me, you don't owe anybody an explanation.
Right.
So I was brief, and I said this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
Just didn't work out.
If COVID taught us anything, it's that we have a lot less control than we ever imagined we did. And good for you, good for your therapist, because you are a beautiful, intelligent, bold, brave, and creative woman who has every right to be in the world. I'm glad that you're coming through this experience, and I'm glad you're also willing to reach back to others who might yet have an experience like this and say, it's okay. I know the path. You can get through this.
Absolutely.